So a few years ago now, Apple introduced adaptive transparency on the Apple Airpods Pro, and a lot of people who reviewed the Airpods Pro 2 at that time said that this would be a good thing to use when you go out to concerts, so that you get the noise level reduced to an acceptable level, to a level that won't cause you any hearing damage, but would still allow you to hear what's going on in the concert. But since that time, I don't think anyone's actually done any tests and given us any feedback on it. So I've done this. I've taken my AirPods and a pair of conventional foam hearing protectors to a concert, and I'm here to tell you the results. So the first thing that you have to be aware of is there's several modes that you can have your AirPods Pro in at a concert. Now the first way you can have it is with the ANC and transparently completely turned off. Now what I found was this setting was the absolute worst, because it just meant that you had all of the noise coming through the AirPods, but with a lot of resonances and peaks and troughs caused by sticking some foreign object into your ear. And this is very unpleasant and also very loud, and I don't recommend you use this mode at all. The second mode I tried was transparency, this normal transparency mode. This mode was a little bit clearer. It wasn't as loud and peaky as with transparency off, but to me, the volume level was still a little bit too high for my liking. In fact, I did some measurements with my Apple Watch, and you can see that it still is a bit too high. Transparency mode sounded good. It sounded nice and flat, but to me, just still too loud. And now we come to the adaptive transparency mode, which is the newest mode on the AirPods, and it is a mode that most people were talking about using at concerts. So what I found was the adaptive mode reduced the sound level to an acceptable level, so it wasn't feeling that loud anymore. It sounded nice and clean, but a little bit too much of the bass was coming through. Now bear in mind it's a concert, the bass is very loud, so to me adaptive transparency sounded good, but I think the bass was just a little bit too boomy. Now lastly, I'm going to use pure ANC mode. Now surprisingly to me this was the best mode to use. I got a nice level frequency response of the music coming into my ears. The bass was actually reduced more than the adaptive transparency mode, and it was very pleasant to listen to. The only thing about it was that I found it was now too quiet. It was a little bit too difficult to hear what was going on the stage, but overall I think I would use ANC mode when I go to a concert with the AirPods. While I was there, just for comparison's sake, I also tried a pair of noise blocking foam earplugs, the ones that you have to squeeze up and push into your ear canal. Now these are actually designed for when you're out doing construction with your jackhammers and you're hammering and sawing and everything like that. So these are proper air defense earplugs. I shouldn't be surprised when the earplugs reduced the volume of the concert almost completely. Like, it was so effective at reducing noise that when I put them in, I actually heard ringing in my ears as if I just walked into a quiet room. I could hardly hear what was going on the stage. I could hardly hear people talking to me. They'd have to shout into my ear. I suppose that's fine if you go to a concert alone, but a lot of people go to concerts with people and you still want to be able to interact a little bit. The proper foam earplugs is just too much. It completely cut out everything. I had to take those back out like in a couple seconds. Aside from the actual volume reduction, there are a couple more things that I want to mention about the earplugs versus the AirPods. Now the AirPods obviously just go into your ear very easily. They're just kind of like going there and hang. So they're very easy to take out and put in whenever you want to, so you have that flexibility. The earplugs you have to squeeze and mold and push kind of deep into your ear canal, and that's hard enough, but taking them out actually takes longer because you can't just yank them out because it's a total airtight sealer. If you just yank them out, you're going to probably burst the eardrum or something. So the process of taking earplugs out is actually quite long and intense, whereas the earplugs are much more convenient when you want to go for a beer or go to the bathroom or something. You can just take them out and pop them back into your pocket. Overall, if I was going to a concert, I would say I'd leave the Air Defender earplugs at home. I will use the AirPods, and I will use it in noise cancellation mode. I hear that iOS 18 is going to have some extra features to the AirPods. One of them which will be where you can actually adjust the amount of cancellation, because right now you kind of have, I would say you have 3 levels. So you have the transparency, and then you have the adaptive, which blocks some of the noise, and then you have the ANC, which blocks nearly everything. So if there was a way to actually adjust smoothly between the two, then you can customize the amount of ANC to exactly how loud your concert is. So like maybe the adaptive transparency mode will actually be best if there was a way to manually just bump up the transparency just a little bit. It still wouldn't solve the issue of the booming bass, so I don't know what's causing that. I'm not like an audio engineer or anything, but for now I'm going to take my AirPods to concerts and use them in ANC mode. So I hope that helped. Thanks for watching. See you soon.